Hi guys, welcome to 365 Days, 365 Concepts. The concept that we're going to understand today is what exactly is index, what is the use of index, what exactly should be taken care of whenever you're constructing and managing an index, and exactly what sort of return does an index give. Okay, sir, let us get started. So, what do you mean by index? Index is something that represents the market. Sir, meaning, let's say we talk about Nifty 50. Nifty 50 is what? It is a portfolio, sir, which is comprising of 50 stocks, which are carefully picked out, and a stock of 50 portfolio is, sorry, a portfolio of 50 stock has been created, which ultimately represents the market. So if this portfolio goes up in value, market is going up in value. If this portfolio falls down in value, market is falling down in value. As simple as that. That means, sir, what am I doing, sir? I am out of a population of the stocks, I am selecting a sample of 50 stock that represents my population. And this process is called as sampling from your statistics. Sir, what exactly does the index do, sir? What exactly do you use it for? You measure the particular asset class or the performance of a particular asset class, how well it is performing. So when I talk about Nifty 50, which is an index for the stock market world, sir, it tells us how the asset class, which is stock, is performing. Okay, sir. It tells me about how security market is performing, of course, right? You can have a general notion about how security markets are performing with respect to how the index is performing, right? And the segment of the market. Sir, what do you mean by segment of the market? Like there is Nifty 50, there are other indexes of Nifty 50 which represents a specific market. So let's say, for example, I talk about Nifty Small Cap Index. Nifty Small Cap Index. Sir, what is Nifty Small Cap Index? Nifty Small Cap Index represents the performance of small cap stocks. Okay, sir, it represents the performance of small cap stocks. What do you mean by that? Let's say, for example, there are in total 1,000 small cap stocks that are listed on an exchange, which is Nifty, which is NSE. Sir, out of this, they have handpicked 50 small cap stocks that represents the entire population of small cap stocks. Okay, sir. So it is exactly like that only, population sampling. Yes. This Nifty small cap index represents the performance of the segment of the market. And that segment is what, sir? That segment is small cap stocks. Similarly, you'll see a lot of, lot of indexes that are there for multi cap, that is there for mid cap, that is there for banking as a sector, for insurance as a sector and stuff like that. And sir, what are the individual securities that are underneath, sir? What are they called, sir? They are called as constituent securities. Sir, what do you mean by individual securities, sir? Individual securities are the ones that are in the portfolio of Nifty 50. Let's say, for example, the 50 stocks, those 50 stocks are what? Constituent securities. So that is the use of index. So how does the index construction and management work, sir? What exactly somebody who's constructing the index? So let's say, sir, I am constructing Nifty 50, which is an index, a portfolio that comprises 50 stocks, which represents the market. What is the thought process that I should have or that should go behind when I'm constructing this? Sir, what is the target market the index is intended to measure? Of course, sir. When I'm constructing and I'm trying to make, measure, what do you call? Let's say, for example, I have measured, I have created Nifty 50, Nifty small cap index. So what is the target market that I'm intending to measure? Small cap stocks. So I cannot include large cap stocks in this or mid cap stocks in this. That's the first thing. Securities from the target market index should be included. So in case when I was constructing a small cap index, there are 1,000 small cap stocks, right? So what sort of stock should I select? That is also very important. How should the securities be weighted in the index? This is very important. What sort of weighting measure that I should be using when I'm constructing the portfolio? Whether I should use market cap, whether I should use price weighted, whether I should use equal weighting, whatever I would want to use, I can use. How often the index should be rebalanced? That is also very, very important. How would the rebalancing work? That is also very, very important. And should the selection and weighting of securities be re-examined? That is also very, very important. So whatever securities that I have selected, whatever securities, the securities that I've selected and the weighting scheme that I'm using, whether private, whether market cap, whether whatever that may be, how often should the selection be re-examined matters and the weighting should be re-examined and the rebalancing should be done. right? Rebalancing, basically adding a stock, removing a stock, and all of those things, right? Let's say, for example, this particular stock doesn't suit the Nifty 50 portfolio anymore because currently, let's say, for example, there's a petroleum stock, and currently, from the way the market are functioning, the market is moving towards EV. So I would want to remove the petroleum stock, include an EV stock, stock basically that is in the EV space. So that is what it is. So that's an example. That's what rebalancing, selection and weighting and all of those things is, right? So that's construction and management. So what sort of return does an index give, sir? Sir, index, sir, how do you measure the index return is what we are trying to understand. Sir, index has securities, so securities would go up in price. That is what it is. So, sir, we're talking about price return. So, changes in the price, that is one of the return. Yes. So, one of them is price index, which is based on price, which is called as price return. That is what it is. So, index gives two types of returns, sir. First is your price return. That is what it is, which only considers the movement in price. That's the first one. Sir, what is the second one, sir? The second one is your return index. Sir, what is return index, sir? It considers both, which is the price return and the total return, which is the price return and the income return, which is completely which is the complete return, which is your basic total return. Sir, what do you mean by that? Sir, total return comprises of the price movement. So basically, as a stockholder, if I invest in a stock, I will get two types of return. Sir, first return, the stock price movement, which is if the stock goes up, I earn money. If the stock goes down, I make a loss. Sir, what is the other type of return that I get, sir? It is income that I get from that particular stock. Sir, what do you mean by income? Example, dividend. So a return index consists of, comprises both. So it comprises your whatever the price movement that is there and whatever the income or the dividend that you're getting from the underlying stock. So that is what your index return is, right? It can be either price or it can be total return, which is, basically return index, right? So that is what your return was. That was your construction and management, and that was the use of the index, right? So that was everything to do with index. Right, guys, I hope you guys have understood everything. If there are any doubts, feel free to ask in the comment section. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys with another concept. Bye.